Good day once again. So for this lecture, what we'll be tackling is on how to use the different conjunctions in a sentence. So each conjunction has their own use, and there are different instances wherein they should be the appropriate term to be used instead of the others. So for this lecture, we will be enumerating the different kind of conjunctions and how they are used in the sentence. So I'll be sharing you now my screen. So welcome back to Sir Batch Learning Beam. And for today, again, we'll be tackling about the conjunctions. So try answering the following items. So for sure, you have with you again your piece of paper and try to see if you can get the correct answers for each item that I will be showing you. So for the first item, we have Chris Ellis can sing and dance, and he can play basketball too. So which do you think is the appropriate or correct conjunction for this sentence? So it's and. Let's how have the second sentence. Either Siri nor or Batch can be Yunbin's partner in the ball. Okay? If your answer is or, you are correct. Let's now proceed on our third sentence. Denver wants to pursue his dream to win a pageant, but and his parents does not support him. So which do you think is the correct conjunction for this statement? If your answer is but, you are correct. So what is a conjunction? So conjunction is the glue that holds words, phrases, and clauses, both dependent and independent together. So as I go through with my lecture for this topic, so I will be mentioning to you the difference between dependent and independent clause. Okay. So again, the primary function of the conjunction is that it holds words, phrases, and clauses together. So its primary role is to relate ideas in a sentence. So there are three kinds of conjunctions. They are coordinating conjunction, subordinating conjunction, and correlative conjunction. So each serve its own distinct purpose, but all working to bring words together because in a sentence, there is a tendency or there's a possibility that there are conjunctions and subordinate conjunctions at the same time. So that depends on how they are used in a sentence. So let's have first the coordinating conjunctions. So what is coordinating conjunctions? So these are the words that join. These are the words that join words, phrases, or clauses of similar functional value. So when we talk of similar functional value, we are referring to how they functions in the sentence. Do they function as a subject in the sentence, or an adverb or an adjective? So this is what we meant by functional values. So they are of the same functional values. If a certain sentence or if a certain word that are joined in a sentence are adjectives, then they are joined. All of them are adjectives joined by the coordinator. So the first one is and moreover. So what is the function of and moreover? So they suggest the addition of something. Again, addition of something closely related or allied to what has already been stated and therefore expected. So it's only just adding more information about what is already given of about the subject in the sentence. So let's say for instance, he is tall, dark, and handsome. He is tall, dark, and handsome. Now, let us see what is that similar functional value that we are pertaining here. So, as you notice, there are three adjectives: dark, tall, dark, and handsome. So they all function as an adjective. Hence, they function with similar value in the sentence. Tall, dark, and handsome. Okay, so they are joined by the coordinator and. So aside from being tall, the person or the subject, he is also dark and handsome. So that is what we meant by adding information about the subject in a sentence or something that is what the sentence is being referred to. He plays tennis and he likes basketball too. So aside from playing tennis, the subject he also plays tennis. Now, how are you going to use moreover in the sentence? Just simply replace and with moreover. However, if you'll be using moreover, we should put a semicolon before it if you are joining two clauses. Okay, so for example, he plays tennis, semicolon, moreover, comma, he likes basketball too. Or you can also place moreover at the end of the sentence. He plays tennis, semicolon, he likes basketball too, comma, moreover. Or you can place moreover after the subject he for your second clause. He plays tennis, semicolon, he, comma, moreover, comma, likes basketball too. So those are the different ways on how you can play with the structure of your sentence so that it does not look boring and a statement. So again, moreover can be placed anywhere in your clause. So but, yet, and however. So they all function similarly. If the function of and moreover is to add information, the function of but, yet, and however are to show contrast between the elements connected and unexpectedness of the element or elements added to what has already been stated. So for example, she is rich but cruel. So you see the contrast between rich and being cruel. So that's the contrast that we are pertaining here. She passed all her exam. She passed all her exams, yet she has to get higher grade next term. So that is what we meant by expect unexpectedness of the element or elements added to what has already been stated. Okay, so we are expecting something from the subject she. Okay. Either or, neither nor, or just or just nor. So suggest alternative or choice. If you're using either or, it suggests choice or alternative. However, if you'll be using neither nor, it means to say that none of those subjects in the sentence. Okay, for example, either you go or I go. So there's a choice whether the person you or the person I will go. So there's a choice. Board rates in Manila are about 70 or 80 pesos a month. 70 or 80 pesos, suggesting approximation. Okay, approximation. So 70 or 80 pesos a month, suggesting approximation. So we can also use neither on this statement. Let's say, for example, neither the teacher nor the students are attending the ceremony. Neither the teacher nor the students are attending the ceremony. It means to say none of the teachers, none of the students will be attending the ceremony because we use neither nor. None of the options, none of the choices. Okay, hence, so, thus, therefore, all function similarly. So they state the result or consequences of a given statement. So the result of a certain action. So let's say he studied hard. As a result of that, hence he passed the exam. So take note of the punctuation marks. I forgot to put a comma here, but there should be a comma there. So he studied hard, semicolon, hence he passed the exam. So he studied hard, so he passed the exam. So the reason why he passed the exam is because he studied hard. The same with when using thus. He studied hard, thus he passed the exam. So you notice that I put a semicolon before thus and a colon after thus. So that is the rule. You can do something about it. but that is the rule, the structure of the sentence. So he studied hard, therefore he passed the exam. Okay, same structure with the previous one. We put a semicolon before the coordinator, therefore, and after the coordinator, therefore, we put a comma. So remember this. When two or more independent clauses in a sentence are joined by the coordinators for, nor, for and, nor, but, or yet, so, or just simply fanboys, put a comma before the coordinator. So what is a clause? So when you talk of a clause, it follows the subject predicate structure. Meaning to say, a sentence or a clause has a subject and a predicate on it. So if a certain clause has those elements in a sentence, therefore it's a clause, and therefore it is a sentence. So if you're joining these two independent clauses, meaning to say when we talk about independent clauses, these clauses can stand alone, meaning they have their uh, the meaning, they're expressing a complete thought or complete meaning of the statement. So for examples, I go to park. I go to the park every Sunday, so that is our first independent clause. For I love to see the lake. So I go to the park every Sunday. I love to see the lake are our independent clauses because I subject go to the park every Sunday is the predicate. I, which is the subject, love to see the lake is our independent clause. Okay, it is these two clauses can stand alone because if you remove for I love to see the lake, I go to the park every Sunday can stand alone. If you remove I go to the park every Sunday, the clause I love to see the lake can stand alone. So that's what's meant by independent clause as a clause that could stand alone. So we have here the coordinator that joins the two independent clauses is the coordinator for, and a comma is placed before the coordinator. So that's how it should be structured in a sentence. Then we have more examples. Soccer is entertaining in winter, but it's better in the heat of summer. I always take a book to read, yet I never seem to turn a single page. Okay. Then I'm doing one of the players so I watch the basketball game each week. Okay. So however, when joining parallel words in a clause, a comma is not required. So examples, Chris and Danmore are friends. So we do not use a comma before and because we are joining parallel words unless otherwise we are joining series of words. Let's say for example, Chris, Danmore, comma, and Mark. Chris, comma, Danmore, comma, and Mark, comma, and Mark are my friends. Okay, so if you're joining more than three series, put a comma before end. But if they are only two, then there's no need for you to put a comma. So neither the faculty nor the administrator doesn't know about the schedule. So we have two parallel words here, the faculty and the administrator. I watch the ducks on the lake and play with them by the lakeside. So we do not put a comma before and because play with them by the lakeside is not a dependent and it's not an independent clause. It's part of a clause. Why? Because play with them by the lakes, we do not have a subject predicate structure. Unless otherwise what you will be doing is that I watch the ducks on the lake, comma, and I play with them by the lakes. I play with them by the lakes. So I subject play with them by the lakes makes it a predicate. Therefore, you already have your subject predicate structure on that statement. Hence, put a comma before and. But if you will be using this example, I watch the ducks on the lake and play with them by the lakeside. It's part of one clause. Therefore, it's a simple sentence. The men play on two teams, white team or red team. So we have two um, series here, white team or red team, two parallel words. So next we have the subordinating conjunctions. So what is subordinating conjunctions? So a subordinating conjunction always introduces a dependent clause, tying to it to an independent clause. So what's the difference between independent and dependent clause? When we talk of dependent clause, it is a group of words that cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. An independent clause, by contrast, can stand alone as a complete sentence. Although the dependent clause does not could not stand alone as a complete sentence, it still followed the subject predicate structure. because the moment that you attach a subordinating conjunction with a clause, it makes the sentence dependent clause. It requires another clause to complete the statement, and that clause is or should be the independent clause. So, for example, because it inspires me to invest my money, I learned how to start my own business. Because it inspires me to invest my money is a dependent clause. Now, because it inspires me to invest my money, it seems like that the sentence or this clause could not stand. It seems like there's a need for us to add additional information or additional clause for it to be completed. But if you're just going to look at the structure, we have here the subject predicate structure. He, which is the subject, inspires me to invest my money. So there should always be subject predicate structure plus the dependent plus the subordinating conjunction to make it a dependent clause. And the very reason that it becomes a dependent clause is because of the subordinator because. Okay? I learned how to start my own business since I is the subject. Learn how to start my own business is a predicate, therefore it follows the subject predicate structure. So that is our independent clause. So independent clause and the dependent clause and an independent clause. So, unlike coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions can often come first in a sentence. So, this is because of the nature of the relationship between the dependent and the dependent clause. So, for example, I learned how to start my own business because he inspires me to invest my money. But you can say it this way, because he inspires me to invest my money, comma, I learned how to start my own business. So, if you will be using the dependent clause as the beginning part of your statement, there is need for you to put a comma after the dependent clause. However, if you will be using the structure, the second sentence, there's no need for you to put a comma before before the subordinator. So take a look at these two examples for you to be familiar with when use with on when to use the comma in the sentence if you will be joining dependent and independent clause. Then we have the following subordinators that, so that, and lest. So what's the meaning of these subordinators? They are used to show result. So he gazed so long that his eyes were dazzled. So the result of gazing too long is his eyes were dazzled. The lesson is so important that it cannot be omitted. The rector must yield to the students' demands lest they revolt. So the result of the the action of the rector for yielding the demand of the student is the students revolted or revolt. So the result of the action. So that in order that if they are used in negative statement, they refer to show purpose. So let's say Rizal died that liberty might live. So the purpose why Rizal died is for the liberty to live. You should work so hard. So what is the purpose of working so hard? So that you may attain your goals in life. If and unless. So to show condition. If you work hard, you will succeed. Condition. So if this action will be done, this action will be the result. Will be the result. Okay? So to show condition. The squatters will not evacuate unless the government give them aid. Unless the government give them aid. So you're showing the condition. Okay, the condition or the result of that particular action if the squatters will not evacuate. This thing will happen. So that's what we meant by to show condition. This thing might happen. As if, and as though. To show manner or how. How. The floods were rising and it was as if it was the end of the world. As if it was the end of the world. It looks as if they've had a shock. As if they had a shock. So if you would like to describe things, something, and you would like to let the person you're talking to imagine of that particular thing that you would like to explain them, then you will be using the term as if. As if. Okay. It looks as though you've not met before. It looks as though you've not met before. Okay? As, since, and because to show cause or reason. So result, I hope I hope they've decided to come. That's the result. As I wanted to hear about their Egypt trip. That's the reason. The result is they're rather expensive since they're quite hard to find. So since they are quite hard to find, the result is they are expensive. So as a result, then as so as so to show comparison, I think you are better than us. You're comparing he than us. And comparing you than us. So there's a comparison. She is as tall as her brother. Comparison. Jana plays the piano very well, so as her younger sister. Comparison. Whenever. To show space relationship. So whenever he leaves the house, he always takes an umbrella. Whenever he leaves the house, he always takes an umbrella. This is the last day where I will be waiting for you by your locker. Okay, then although, though, even if, even though. So to grant or to show concession, say, although he is bright, he cannot solve this particular problem. To show concession, even if he grants the students' demands, they will not stop until he resigns. You show concession. Okay? Who, that, which, whom, whose, what, wherever, whosoever, whatever, whichever, whomsoever, to refer to persons, places, or things or ideas. When, let's say, for example, uh, Mr. Nathaniel, who is a teacher of English, is, so you are referring to, who is a teacher of, referring to the subject, Mr. Nathaniel. So whenever, till, until, while, after, since, before, as soon as long as, meanwhile. So these are another set of subordinators. They show time relationship. So when she came home late at night, her mother scolded her. She focused on studying her lessons until she fell asleep. Okay? So while and whereas. So to denote the opposite of what is asserted, the opposite of what is asserted. So while he is usually an even-tempered person, he can be very violent when provoked. Whereas my father is cool and calm, my mother is excitable. So those are the different subordinators that you can use. I think before and after also examples of subordinated conjunctions. There are plenty of them. Correlative conjunctions. So what's make it different from the others? Correlative conjunctions are tagged in conjunctions, meaning to say there are two or more words joined together which function as coordinator or function as conjunction. So they come in pairs and you have to use both of them in different places in a sentence to make them work. So for examples, um, common pairs include both and, whether or, either or, neither nor, not, not but, not only but also. Okay, so those are the different correlative conjunctions. Although some of them are already mentioned in coordinating conjunctions, such as neither nor and either or. So examples: I want either the pink sofa or the purple one. I study both English literature and art history. I didn't know whether you'd want milk or cream, so I grabbed both. So the only thing, good thing about it is that you will be particular with what is the appropriate term to be used because they come in pair. So if you use both and then you are presenting two ideas in a sentence, then and is used. Why do you want to visit neither Ireland nor Scotland? Scotland. I took not only the pink sofa but also the Tiffany lamp. Shy. Not the cheeseburger for me, but definitely the fries. Okay, so you see this kind of structure of a sentence. So this is, again, we have here an examples and they are non-graded. So get a piece of paper once again and try answering the following items. And oops, do not fool yourself. So choose the correct conjunctions in each item. So the teacher knows his subject well, but he and or he cannot teach it effectively. He may choose Nana and or but Clara as his bride in the play. Father is a very understanding man and but or a strict disciplinarian. Mother is affectionate and but or understanding. One cannot tell from a person's looks how and if he is honest or not. Okay, are you done? So if you're done, let's move on to our next slide. The manager wants to succeed in his administration. However, moreover, although many factors work against him. Seventh, the president would not grant the students' demands, and but therefore they picketed his office. 8. Mr. Guerrero is a stronger leader. However, moreover, therefore, he understands mob psychology. Citizens should not only know their rights, nor hence, but they should also know their duties. There is a shortage of imported commodities. Hence, moreover, however, their price is going up. So, once again, I will be going back to the first five items so that you have that will to buy time for you to get the correct answers. Okay, then let's have another set. Okay, so let's see if you are correct. Yeah, so these are the correct answers. The teacher knows his subject well, but cannot teach it effectively. He may choose Nana or Clara as his brother in the play, for father is a very understanding man, but a strict disciplinarian. Mother is affectionate and understanding. One cannot tell if from a person's looks if he is honest or not. The manager wants to succeed in his administration, however, many factors work against him. The president would not grant the students' demands, therefore, they picketed his office. Mr. Guerrero is a strong leader, moreover, he understands mob psychology. Citizens should not only know their rights, but they should also know their duties. There is a shortage of imported commodities, hence their price is going up. So how many items you got correctly? So you fill in once again your being with Sir Bachelor meeting. So thank you very much for participating in our